Hi, I'm so excited to be back here today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the hero's journey, which I spoke about the last time I was here at Functional Forum, but I have to go through my own hero's journey to get here every time. So the first time I came, my luggage was lost. This time my flight was canceled. I'm coming from Portland, Oregon, and I'm here and so excited to be with all of you in New York City. So I'm glad to be here. And tonight, what I want to talk about is how you can be the detoxification agent for your most toxic patients. And what does it mean to have toxic patients? Now, of course, we have a flood of all the toxins that we've been talking about this evening that are impacting us physiologically, but those come with emotions. And those come with a lot of things that we need to be thinking about as we're working with this population. So I don't know about all of you. I work with thousands of people around the globe, and I'm seeing more anger, more fear, more grief. Anybody else seeing that in your patients coming in to see you? It's rampant. And these are the emotional side effects of toxicities, and then how somebody's going to work with those toxicities. So let me see if I can go the right way here. There we go. So I'm a functional nutritionist, and I'm owner and founder of Replenish PDX, which is a virtual clinic. Like I said, we work with people around the globe. And I'm also owner and founder of Holistic Nutrition Lab, which is a school teaching the science and the art of functional nutrition to practitioners also around the globe, 41 countries now. But I like to say that I'm actually a patient advocate. And I'm a patient advocate for the patient with chronic illness. And they don't have patient advocates. We are their patient advocates. They do not have enough support. This started for me with my husband's illness. He was diagnosed with a brain tumor, a glioblastoma multiforme, back in April of 2000. And during the 2.5 years that he lived with that diagnosis, we had many different doctors, and it was really important to be an advocate for him to learn how to be his own advocate. And I'm experiencing this now with my father, speaking about the stress of father's illnesses. My dad was diagnosed with a B-cell lymphoma, but as they start to look inside, they find in a 79-year-old man all sorts of issues. So we have the gastroenterologist, we have the pulmonologist, we have the oncologist, we have the surgeon, and nobody's dictating or controlling care. There's not one person to be the advocate, and the family has fortunately handed that over to me so that I can just try to assemble the care. And I'm left thinking, what happens when we're not there, when families don't have people like us to work with? So I really am a stand for patient advocacy. And that brings me to the hero's journey, which I spoke about last time I was here in June. And when we have toxic patients, when we have patients who are ill, they are called to the adventure of getting well. And if you see, step 2 in this process is the assistance, and it's our assistance. But what we have to understand is that they're going to have to make a departure from the reality that they know to be true right now. And change takes courage. Change takes courage. And what we do is we bring the assistance to them so that they can find that courage, so that they can go through the trials, they can find a new approach. They're going to hit crises, and we need to be able to help them through those crises. And what I find with too many patients is that they're stuck in the victim section of the victim accountability loop. And this is a diagram that I learned from a business coach, Annie Hyman Pratt, but I thought it really applied well to what we experience with our clients and patients. So every situation has a choice. We have a choice to make in every situation. But if we're lacking the intention, we miss the point. And what we'll see with people is that to begin with, they may be in the ignore place. They don't want to know that they have a problem. Then they're going to deny that they have to make a change. They might blame their environment, their parents, you, for asking them to make change. They'll rationalize the ways that they're continuing to behave. They'll resist making the changes that you want, and then they'll hide. They won't come back and see you. But this is where we go to the hero's journey, and you provide assistance, because what you can help them do is recognize. And recognition is the first step in accountability. So if we can recognize where they are, we can build a better bridge. And really, a lot of what I'm going to be teaching in this new year is about empathy. It's about how we build a bridge to our most toxic patients and keep ourselves safe and sane in the process, because they're not always nice when they're going through detoxification. So as we come into accountability, we really can recognize where we need to make a change. We can own the situation. We can forgive our faults or the lifestyles that got us to this point. We can really start to self-examine. This is the place where we start to see differences with our patients and clients. When they're really beginning to look at their behaviors and self-examining, they learn and they take action. But if we can recognize where they are, we can help them recognize we can help them bring to recognition where they are. So what I like to play with here is what I call the client or patient's outcome and vision. What is it that they want to achieve? And they may come to you saying that they want to lose weight, that they have resistant weight loss and they want to lose weight. And they've done everything. In fact, we see the patients that have been everywhere and done everything. They're down to eating like 10 foods because they've already eliminated everything because they're so symptomatic. And they say they still want to lose weight and they're trying everything. So you, as a functional practitioner, identify thyroid issues, you identify estrogen dominance, and you figure out, I know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to develop all these things that are part of their plan and their protocol, the detoxification program that includes sleep and relaxation and breathing and exercise. And I've got their diet that's going to help their liver function. I'm going to bring in the methylated folate so that the detox organs are functioning better. And we've got this whole plan, we have got the whole detox planned out for them. But what we have to recognize is that it's not our outcome and vision. We might see estrogen dominance as the issue and a detox needed for estrogen dominance, but that's our idea of what needs to happen from a physiological level. What we need to do to provide assistance is connect it with the patient's outcome and vision. And that might take some digging and some work. They may say they want to lose weight, but we need to figure out, what do they want to lose weight for? What is it that they want to do? They want to have better memory so that they can achieve more in their work, or they want to lose weight so they can be out with their grandchildren. They want to be able to run around and be mobile and not be in pain. Then we start to make the connections of, if this, then your outcome and vision. Not my outcome and vision, but your outcome and vision. And if we start to develop the skills or the program without understanding their outcome and vision, we're in the shadow side, and it's harder for them to make the changes. Remember, change takes courage. So this is the matrix that I use in practice and that I teach in my training. It's adapted from the Institute of Functional Medicine's matrix. And if you look over on the left side there, those are the skills. And I borrow this from my friend Dr. David Hazy. This is the story, the soup, which is the physiology, and the skills. And as functional practitioners, we can get really caught in the soup, just looking and looking for where the physiological imbalances lie, and we can get stuck down rabbit holes of trying to figure it all out. But there's a lot of information for us in the story. What are the antecedents, the triggers, and the mediators? How is this person responding to everything in their life? And as we start to put them together, the skills are then not in violation of the whole person. We get to see the story and the soup. And I think we have to break the story down even further. And this is what we do in ancient medicine. This is the Chinese 5 elements. I was speaking with a friend of mine the other day who's a professor of immunology and dean of research at the National College of Naturopathic Medicine in Portland. And she goes all over the world studying different cultures and their ancient forms of medicine. And we were having tea talking about what's the missing piece? What did the Western medicine lose along the way? And one thing we talked about was we've lost constitution. We've lost the person's constitution along the way. So if we look at Chinese five elements as an example where they connect organs of the body to emotions, to seasons, we can look at the large intestines where we release and our lungs as associated with grief. When somebody's having respiratory issues or issues with their colon, do we see issues of grief? Can we suspect when someone's stuck in an issue of grief that they may have issues in these detoxification organs? When it comes to this season where we're looking at the kidneys connected to the adrenals, we're seeing the season that's water and fear, a lot of fear coming up in this season. We move into the liver, the biggest detoxification organ, biggest internal detoxification organ, and we see anger. And when you start to bring people through a liver detox, anger is what's going to come up. Fire is our small intestine, our pericardium, our heart protector, all our barrier systems. So when we have hyperpermeability, what might we be seeing with fire and somebody's propensity for overjoyousness? And earth, the fifth element, often overlooked, the spleen and stomach, is associated with worry. So this is my constitutional factor, and I have Hashimoto's. I have hyperpermeability in several areas, but what I've learned in being somebody who has this as my constitutional factor is that I need a ring, a protector for me. So what I like to teach my clients and my students is how we actually have a space that we fill. And this is how we start to work in our practices and with our most toxic clients. So imagine, if you will, a queen sitting on a throne, and she has her queendom with guards at the gate that can come into her area or not. And those guards are meant to protect her. They're meant to either let people in that are appropriate to come in or keep people out. And what you'll find with many of your clients is that they're usually hyperpermeable. They're getting upset by things in their space too often, or they can't receive feedback or information. And this tells you that they can start working on their permeability, on the guards at the gate. So I love that we can use different principles, different modalities. The beauty of functional medicine is that it's the map, it's the GPS, and we can then bring any modalities into work into that map, and it helps us see balance. So I'm a big fan, if you haven't been able to tell already, of frameworks and systems so we can problem solve on the spot. And this is another system that I learned, or framework that I learned from Annie Hyman Pratt. And she talks about how we move from the current state to the transformed state, which is what we're all trying to do with our patients. And there are a few truths about this. Number one, once you step off of A, you can't ever go back to A. Number two, the road from A to B is never a straight line. And this is what it's going to look like in practice. We are always trying to figure out what's next and determining based on a response where we need to go. So it's going to look a little wonky. And if we can prep our clients and patients for that reality, then they're in it with us. And the third point is that as we get closer to that transformed state, the level of excellence narrows. We begin to see more clearly where we need to go. So helping people understand this process lets them know that it's not a one-time thing. It's not just one shot that we're going for. Oops, went the wrong way. So I talked a little bit about how I'm leading with empathy. This is what I'm now calling the practitioner's mastery matrix. And what I've seen in working with thousands of practitioners is that people get stuck in these 3, 4, 5 areas, and they're not actually able to retain clients or patients or solve the problems. And it takes some other key areas to be able to really work with empathy and with success. So this is the practitioner empathy matrix that I'll be teaching into in the next year. And I'd love to invite you all to move into empathy with me. I've developed an entire empathy matrix that shows us what's happening, what are the insults that are happening to the body, and then who is it that's responding. So for all my students, it's what's going on in there and who's it going on to. So, or in, or with. So you can learn more about the empathy matrix, get your first of the 3 handouts in the empathy matrix at holisticnutritionlab.com/functional. And I think this is an important conversation for us all to have. How do we bring empathy and constitution back into the practice, especially when we're working with people who are highly toxic, because they're gonna be in emotional states of disrupt. So thank you very much, and I look forward to talking with you more about empathy in the coming year.
Thanks so much for watching, and for more great clips like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I've created a special free video just for you. It's called The 4 Top Productivity Tools for Practitioners. And it'll give you some starting points on how to save time in your practice so you can focus on what's most important to you in your business and life. All you have to do is click on the link below.